Hey, what's up? I'm Strons Vanderplug, and I made a video a while ago talking about the best lights for video production, particularly lights that are available at a low cost or affordable lights. And because I know that's really important for most people, they're trying to save money and spread their costs across cameras, lights, lenses, sound, whatever it is. Now, that video I just kind of talked briefly about the lights, but I wanted to show you one of the lights in person so you kind of get a feel for how they work and how they operate. These are kind of like a Kino Flo style light, but they're much more affordable, much more affordable, like a fraction of the cost. These are available for like around 100 bucks. There's different versions. This one is the 6 bulb or the 3 bank, however you want to look at it, fixture, but there's also a 2 bank, which is 4 bulbs, and then they also have a single bank, which is 2 bulbs in there. Now, these lights are really soft. That's one of the main benefits about them, is that they're soft, very flattering. I'm actually lighting this setup with one of these lights through kind of a silk diffusion, typical to how I normally light stuff. You can check out some of my other videos if you want to learn how I light typical kind of interview setups, like something like this. But I'm using one of those lights over here, so that's what the light actually looks like. And the only thing that you really have to worry about with these lights is there's a slight green cast to the bulbs that come with them. So we've got a little minus green gel right here. So we just clip that right on. I think this is an 1/8 minus green. You could also use a 1/4 depending on your personal preference for how you like to color things and what you want it to look like. But it's not much of a problem if you're using just these lights. And because they're so affordable, you can buy 3 of them. There's 3, there's actually one back there helping lighting up the background just a little bit too. So you can get 3, 4, 5, 6, however many you want, however many you can carry with you. You can get them for around, you know, even if you got 6 of them, it's still cheaper than just one Kino Flo light. However, there are some setbacks in terms of functionality compared to the Kino Flo lights. This light, it only mounts horizontal like this. With the Kino, you have that kind of ball and socket joint where you can rotate it vertical, like portrait, or landscape horizontal, with however you want it. With these lights, you can only mount them horizontally. So that is a slight setback. I normally mount my lights like this anyway, so it's not the biggest problem, but that is something to consider. You'd have to figure out some other rigging to kind of get this light in that vertical and that portrait orientation. The other problem with this light is that build quality is not quite up to the same standards as Kino Flo. It is a little bit flimsier in terms of the metal construction. It feels like it's kind of that typical made in China kind of feel. But that being said, having stored it in a Pelican case, traveling across the country, numerous flights, it's held up. Now this particular fixture, the 6 bulb that we have, we did notice some screws came loose inside and they were kind of rattling around, causing some noise. It didn't affect the light's performance in any way, but we had to take the back off and kind of go in there and take the screw out and reaffix it because it had come loose. So that is something to consider. You might, if you buy this unit, you might want to open it up first, just make sure everything's locked down tight. Otherwise, you know, things could come loose and that would be a problem. But if you're using this in kind of like a studio environment where it's going to be set up in kind of a permanent installation, you'd probably be fine. And if you are going to travel with it, you certainly can. Just make sure it's in something rugged like a Pelican case or something like that, so it's going to hold up after TSA's knocking it around and searching through it. So these lights are actually really nice. They're plenty bright. I can actually flip it on. It might blind you, but let's see how that looks. Yeah, you're getting some, yeah. I don't know how helpful that is to demonstrate, but they're plenty bright. Right now, with just this light, I'm using the 4 bulb fixture right here through kind of a silk diffusion panel to kind of make that light source even bigger and even softer. These lights do have a mounting bracket that, you know, for transport you probably want to take off to kind of compact them down a little tighter, but it's a typical mounting bracket. You can put it to pretty much any light stand. This light stand is kind of a beefier one, so I definitely recommend something strong, something heavy duty, which you can find, you know, relatively affordable online at different places. You know, if you had a C-stand or something like that, that would be perfect. But some of the typical cheap light stands that you'll find with most softbox kits probably would be too weak for this particular light, the 6 bulb. This thing's pretty heavy actually. You know, it's a good maybe 15, 20 pounds, something around there, just from my lifting it and guessing. But it's substantial in terms of weight, so you'd want a heavier duty stand to kind of support that. For the smaller 2 bulb or the 4 bulb version, you might be able to get away with a lighter stand just because those are lighter weight. But for the 6 bulb, you definitely want something a little bit more heavy duty. And if you are considering lights like this, they're cheap enough to where you could just order it and kind of test it out. They're really good. I think you'd be surprised with the quality you can get from these. You know, with the minus green gel, I have to do very minimal color correction to kind of fix any color issues, which there usually aren't any. I'm usually fixing color for other reasons or giving it a grade, if you will. So you don't really have to worry about the color of the bulbs or anything like that, not to anything I've seen anyway. You might have a very particular taste in the way you like your stuff to look, but for everything I've shot, it's clean, nice and white, as long as you use that minus green gel. And if you are gonna get one of these, I'd probably recommend the 4-bulb to start out with. If you wanna get a full set, you can get the 2-bulb, 4-bulb, 6-bulb, or any combination thereof. But if you're just looking for a light to test out, or you just want one, I'd probably go with the 4-bulb, since the 6-bulb is a little bit heavier. It's also more expensive. And even though it's giving you that extra punch with the extra 2 bulbs and giving it a little bit more brightness, I've found that the 4-bulb is usually more useful and kind of right where I want to be at. The 2-bulb, it's good for what it is, you know, as like an edge light or a fill light, but I like the flexibility that the 4-bulb gives me because I can turn 2 of those bulbs off. So you can't dim these like you can with a lot of the Kino Flo models, but you can flip off certain banks. So you're only, you know, if you have the 4-bulb model like this one here, which all 4 bulbs are on right now, but I could go flip bank off so that 2 of the bulbs go out and just kind of reduce that overall light output. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking these lights out if you're looking for that kind of soft, flattering light, especially for interviews or even short films, documentaries. These lights will do pretty much anything you want them to. The only thing they're gonna struggle with is giving you kind of texture or patterns on the walls or in the scene if you wanna use some kind of gobo. Because the light is so soft, it doesn't really shape well through kind of modifiers like that. But if you're looking to just cast color or a general wash or just light like you see here, these do the trick and they work really well. And plus they're super cheap, so you can maximize your gear list across cameras, lenses, sound, all that good stuff, and you're not spending all your money just getting a decent set of lights. And to put this all in context, I've shot with a bunch of different lights over the years. I've used Kino Flos, I've used traditional tungsten fixtures, I've used the HMIs, I've used the cheap softbox kits you can find on Amazon with the curlicue bulbs. I've used pretty much everything there is to use, and I really, really like these. They're not as nice in terms of features and probably in terms of color accuracy as the Kino Flos, but you're saving a lot of money. So for individual expenses, you know, if you're just owning stuff yourself, these are the way to go. You probably don't want to spend that much money on Kino Flos, just spending it for the lights, because you want to buy other stuff. You want to buy cameras, you want to buy lenses, you want to buy sound equipment, you want to buy maybe like costumes, or you want to get access to particular locations. Whatever it is, you don't want to spend all your money on lights. So this is a really good way to keep that cost down, but still get something that's really usable and looks really good. I put links for all this stuff in the description down below. So if you want to check any of these lights out in further detail, you can click on over to Amazon. That's usually where I get my stuff from Amazon because of the free shipping with Prime and all that good stuff. So click on over there, check them out in more detail. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I'll try and respond as best I can to as many as possible.